Good evening and welcome to today's edition of You and the Economy. My name is Chinemerem Joseph. In the last edition of the program, we flagged off a mini-series on the monitoring and evaluation exercise conducted in Lagos State recently by a team of officials of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, as part of the oversight of the bank's interventions in the stimulating sectors of the economy. We told you that the CBN's M&E is an integral feature of the implementation of the bank's interventions in the economy and explained the reasons why the CBN places great premium on the exercise, which it conducts periodically. As you heard, CBN's M&E is to ensure that the funds disbursed by the Apex Bank to beneficiaries of its intervention programs were spent on the projects they were approved for. Not only that, the exercise is also conducted to ensure that such projects were or being properly executed as may be applicable, so that the rationale for approving the loan request to fund them are fully realized. Above all, the CBN's M&E guides the bank in determining if the conditions precedent to the release of the next tranche of funds for the execution of the projects have been fulfilled and whether such funds should be released as scheduled. The last edition of the program focused on the M&E exercise conducted by the CBN team at Eko Electricity Distribution Plc, to which the bank had disbursed 40 billion naira under its Real Sector Support Facility, which is the RSSF. And remember that what the RSSF stands for, why it was introduced, and how it is being funded were all explained in that edition of the program. The first segment of today's edition of You and the Economy brings you a report on the M&E exercise conducted by that team at another Lagos-based power distribution company, Eko Electricity Distribution Plc, EKEDC, while the second segment is on the M&E exercise at the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA. Here now is the report on the M&E visit by the CBN team to EKEDC.
Eko Electricity Distribution Plc, EKEDC, is also one of the power distribution companies that emerged from the unbundling of the former Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, in 2012. The company is responsible for electricity distribution activities in demarcated geographies of Nigeria, otherwise known as licensed area. Its operational license covers the southern part of Lagos State and extends to Agbara in Ogun State. Its area of coverage is segmented into 10, namely Agbara, Ojo, Festac, Ijora, Mushin, and Orile. Other locations covered by its license area include Apapa, Lagos Island, Lekki, and Ibeju. The CBN Monitoring and Evaluation M&E team met with the management of EKEDC at the corporate headquarters of the company on the marina in Lagos Island. Setting the agenda for the M&E exercise, the head of the CBN team, Yila Yusuf, expressed the expectation of the team for a presentation that will cover projects being executed by the company with funding from CBN interventions, lessons learned by the company in Phase 0 of the National Mass Metering Program, the challenges being faced, and the plans of EKEDC moving forward. In its presentation, EKEDC disclosed that the company was currently executing 42 projects under the interventions of the CBN, out of which 9 were said to have been fully completed.
32 were ongoing, and 1 had been declined by the vendor it was awarded to. Also, in line with the parameters set for the presentation, EKEDC highlighted its experience with Phase 0 of the National Mass Metering Program, some of the critical challenges it is facing, and its plans moving forward. At the end of the general presentation, matters of interest were raised by the CBN team. These included the following: that EKEDC should comment on whether the CBN intervention was timely or unnecessary, or even probably a mistake, and provide a general context of how the funds accessed were spent, as well as the successes posted from how the funds disbursed were channeled, and of course the key challenges faced and lessons learned by the company in Phase 0 of the National Mass Metering Program. Eko Distribution Company was also asked to provide an insight into how it was handling the issue of price variation being requested by some of its contractors, who based their case on the exchange rate depreciation that had occurred between the time when the intervention in this sector was conceived and bids were approved for projects to be executed. The depreciation had invariably affected the funding of offshore components of projects conceptualized, and the CBN team wanted to know whether the company was exploring internal resolution options for tackling the challenge.
We all know what customers want.
Answers were subsequently provided by the EKEDC management to some of these issues, and we now take a few.
It's not a mistake that CBN invested or funded the sector, because when CBN came in, we were at the peak of liquidity crisis in the power sector. The industry could not move ahead. We could not even fund the OPEX. We had issues with metering challenges across the whole network area within the country. And we also had issues with infrastructure. And the regulator at that moment just implemented what we call the service-based reflective tariff, where the numbers of hours of service you give to customers, the time in the tariff, you also charge them. And for us to all serve our customers well, we all know what customers want. They want 24/7 improved power supply, affordable and reliable, and also safe power supply. And we needed investment to ensure that we could give our customers that level of service. And that was when the industry reached out to the regulator, and investment committees reached out to CBN for funding, and it came at the right time. The OPEX loan came at the right time that helped us to fund our electricity bills to sustain both the GENCOs and the whole value chain industry. The projects we've selected, or the technical projects, were projects targeted towards reducing our technical and commercial losses. The metering that we did was to help with collection and ensure that we're able to bill customers for the energy that they have consumed accurately without dispute between both the DISCO and our customers. And for us to reduce our losses, we need to meter all our customers. And we are quite appreciative of that metering intervention scheme.
Olumide Jerome, EKEDC's General Manager, Commercial Loss Reduction, addressed the issues raised by the CBN team on the experience of the company with implementation of Phase 0 of the National Mass Metering Program, especially those issues bordering on meter bypass and other metering-related challenges.
We have between 5 to 10% of some of our customers wanting to bypass their meters. And that's why, as part of the strategy we have as a company, we have a revenue assurance team whose primary responsibility is to ensure that on a weekly basis, we're going out there, we're fishing out some of these individuals. And you'll be surprised, it cuts across different strata of society, both the rich and the poor. They're all involved in this activity. But it's ultimately, when we get to a point where we have 100% metering coverage, it's one of the policing functions that we'll carry out as a DISCO, which we are already well prepared for, and is an ongoing in our daily activities, ongoing activity. Also, part of the challenges we faced, also some customers despite the fact that they complain about their estimated billing, you'll be amazed that some of them outrightly even want to refuse to have these meters in their premises, because that way they then can no longer pay a minimum fee on some of the bills that we give them on a monthly basis. So that's another challenge we face.
On the vexed issue of cost escalation for the execution of projects that required components that will be imported, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Eko Electricity Distribution Plc, Dr. Tinuade Sanda, described the challenge as a critical one, capable of affecting the smooth implementation of the power distribution goals of the company. While giving assurance that EKEDC had on its own been exploring avenues to tackle the worrying development internally, Dr. Sanda sought the support of the CBN in resolving the threats posed to the smooth execution of affected projects by the development. She therefore urged the Apex Bank to look into the issue of claims for price review submitted by the affected vendors and inject the needed funds to offset the cost escalation that prompted the submission of the claims. The curtain was drawn on the formal session of the monitoring and evaluation visit with a vote of thanks delivered by Olumide Jerome, General Manager, Commercial Loss Reduction of Eko Electricity Distribution Plc.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll have continued engagement as the months and weeks roll by, please feel free to reach out to myself or any member of the MD's team if you have any questions privately or otherwise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back. As we indicated earlier, there are two segments in today's edition of the program. The second is on the oversight of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority LAMATA by the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monitoring and Evaluation Team. Through its interventions in the economy, the CBN had disbursed more than 60 billion naira to funding the Lagos Rail Mass Transit System, which is being executed for the Lagos State Government by LAMATA. Construction work is currently ongoing at frenetic pace on two of the lines of the system, namely the Red Line and the Blue Line. In tandem with its unwavering commitment to helping to fast-track the completion of the projects being executed in the construction of the two lines so that residents of Lagos can begin to reap the huge benefits of the mode of transportation soon, the CBN team conducted an assessment of the progress made so far in bringing the two lines on stream. Here now is our report on the monitoring and evaluation visit to LAMATA by the team.
Lagos, the former federal capital of Nigeria and the undisputed epicenter of business and commerce in Nigeria. Lagos is also a megacity, and its reputation as one of the major megacities of the world is legendary. One of the telltale signs of the megacity status of Lagos is its huge population and never-ending vehicular road traffic congestion, popularly known as go-slow in local parlance. Since the return to civil democratic governance in 1999, successive Lagos state governments have been unrelenting in tackling the problems faced by residents of the state in their daily commutes to their respective destinations within the state. This is particularly so because the perennial traffic holdups experienced on most of the city's highways continue to adversely affect the economy of the state and Nigerians, as well as the livelihoods of the millions of people who reside in the state. One of the strategies adopted to tackle the road transportation hardships faced by residents of Lagos is the light rail mass transit system. The initiative stemmed from the conviction that a lasting solution to the problem of public transportation in the state lies in the adoption of a multi-modal system of public transportation. This strategy is also regarded as the effective way to bringing relief to commuters and also relieve the economy of both Lagos State and Nigeria from the severe losses they suffer from the unquantifiable man-hours lost by residents of Lagos to perennial and protracted traffic holdups. Central to the multi-modal strategy is the adoption of a light rail mass transit transportation system. This ultimately resulted in the decision of the state government to embark on the construction of a light rail mass transit system project. The project is sponsored by the Lagos State Government and is being developed by Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, on behalf of the state. For the proposed Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System project, LAMATA came up with a 7-line network. These are the blue, red, green, yellow, purple, brown and orange lines. To flag off the project, LAMATA embarked on the construction of the blue line. This was later complemented with the construction of the red line. The blue line, which on completion shall be 27 kilometers long, is designed to connect the marina axis of Lagos Island with Okokomaiko, a suburb on the Mile 2 Badagry Expressway axis, through the National Theatre, Igomu, and Mile 2. On completion, the red line of the project will be 30 kilometers long and will run between the marina on Lagos Island and Alagbado, a Lagos suburb near Ota, on the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. The line is designed to utilize the existing Nigeria Railway Corporation corridor constructed through a concession arrangement. Work on the construction of the blue line of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System commenced in 2009. Although it was initially scheduled for completion in 2011, the project became stalled because of funding issues. However, when the Lagos State Government resolved to embark on the red line in 2019, it sought for funding assistance to execute the construction of the line and also completed the construction of the blue line. And this was where the Central Bank of Nigeria got involved in the execution of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System, as the bank joined other key development finance institutions to provide funding for the project under its Real Sector Support Facility Intervention Scheme. This was done by the CBN in the discharge of the development functions of its core mandates. The execution of both the blue and red line components of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System project is now going on concurrently at designated project sites. Given the proven significance of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System project to the development of the economy of both Lagos and Nigeria and the huge relief it will bring to commuters in the city, it was no surprise that it was on the list of projects being executed by beneficiaries of CBN interventions that were inspected by the monitoring and evaluation team of the Apex Bank when it conducted its M&E exercise in Lagos State recently. Since a key objective of its mission was to see how the funds disbursed by the Apex Bank to beneficiaries were being utilized, the CBN M&E team was conducted around select sites of both the red and blue lines where construction work was ongoing by a LAMATA team, led by the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Engineer Abimbola Akiajo, to ascertain progress being made in delivering the project. The M&E inspection, which was in continuation of similar ones of the project in the past, began at a major site of the red line component of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System project, the Ikeja Terminal Station. The LAMATA Red Line train station at Ikeja is situated at close proximity to the conventional rail routes of the Nigeria Railway Corporation (NRC) that runs parallel with Agege Motor Road, with Ikeja NRC train station at a distant view. The role of the Red Line terminal station is to serve as a hub to the road and rail transport system along that route. The station will also serve the conventional NRC train station adjacent to the site. When completed, the Ikeja station will have the following facilities: cashier counters, self-serve ticketing machine system area, escalators, passenger lift services, conveniences, shops, book stands, and food vending outlets, among others. The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of LAMATA, Engineer Akiajo, said that work at the train station site was already 60% completed. At the end of the inspection visit, Engineer Akiajo spoke with the media.
It's one of 8 stations that LAMATA is building on the Red Line. And for now, we're well advanced. We're expecting all infrastructure to be completed by the end of the year. That program is set in stone, and we don't have a challenge at meeting that deadline. In terms of operations, we expect to start testing an operation of the line by the end of the year, but by first quarter 2023, we will have operations starting as promised by the Governor of Lagos State.
The next site visited by the CBN team in furtherance of its M&E exercise was the Yaba terminal of the Red Line of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System project. At the location, LAMATA officials showcased progress made at the site to the CBN team. These included the massive canopy of the terminal, where passengers could assemble prior to heading to its station, which was also inspected by the CBN team. Also inspected by the CBN team is this building, where the ticket counter and information center for the Yaba station are located. Offices, changing room and conveniences are also provided in the building for staff to be assigned to the Yaba station of the Red Line. The CBN team also inspected the site of the Yaba station of the Red Line, which, like that of Ikeja, is still under construction. At the location, the Managing Director, Chief Executive of LAMATA, Engineer Akiajo, briefed the CBN team on progress made in the construction of the station, which had reached 50% job completion status. Although it is not as huge as that of Ikeja, the Yaba station will also offer the same range of facilities and amenities. After it was through at Yaba, the team visited the blue line of the project, where it inspected the piers at the Akpogbo by Elegbata axis of Lagos Island. The piers will carry the concrete platforms on which a segment of the rail tracks that will run from the island to the intended destination of the blue line shall be laid. The last location visited by the CBN team on its inspection of the Lagos Light Rail Mass Transit System was the CMS terminus of the project. The terminus is to the blue line, while the Ikeja terminal is to the red line of the project, a major hub. When completed, its station will also have the same range of amenities and facilities available at the Ikeja station. At the end of its exercise, the head of the CBN M&E team offered an assessment of the facilities it had inspected on the blue line.
Construction is still ongoing. There's been major progress. It gives me joy to also see a lot of Nigerians working on site, either doing welding or some form of construction. We're happy with the progress. We got the briefing from the MD, and we look forward to taking a ride the next time we come here, sometime next year. Most importantly for us as central bankers, we want to see how this will contribute to output. She's giving us a briefing. Between 750,000 to 1 million people on a daily basis will use this infrastructure. You can imagine how that will contribute to output. This infrastructure is world-class, quite large. So many different, not just only the ride, the retailing, that space that is available. There's going to be a theater, so many activities that are going to be happening in the station. Also, she gave us a briefing, it's multimodal, so there's going to be water transport, there's also going to be the bus ride. So, well thought out. Kudos to Lagos State Government, and also kudos to LAMATA led by the MD. We also look forward to other states emulating the kind of infrastructure that's been put in place here. They can come learn from Lagos and get the financing to be able to ensure that the state can get world-class infrastructure.
We welcome you back once again. The monitoring and evaluation visits of the CBN team also took it to the Lekki Peninsula axis of the state, where some beneficiaries of the interventions of the bank in some key sectors of the economy undertake their operations. The highlights of the visits conducted by the CBN monitoring and evaluation team to the Lekki Peninsula shall be the focus of the concluding episode of this mini-series on the next edition of the program. We thank you for finding time to watch today's edition of the program and look forward to you joining us again next week when we bring you the final episode of the mini-series. Goodbye.